Okay, now let's talk about rare sats and why they're becoming so valuable. So we know that ordinals are NFTs, or non-fungible tokens, and they come into the world via the inscription process. That inscription process uses a single Satoshi to build the NFT upon, acting as the foundational layer. This is why NFTs that are built on Bitcoin this way live on chain, because they're literally attached to a single Satoshi, the smallest unit of account in Bitcoin. We also know that Casey Rodimer is the creator of Ordinals series, and he added a Rodimer rarity guide for Satoshis within his white paper. And he did this to help people understand how important a role a Satoshi plays when it comes to creating an NFT. The Rodimer Rarity Guide was the first step in rare sats evolution. And since then, new categories of rare sats have emerged. Every time a new rare sat category is established, it goes through a vetting process that is based on consensus. If the majority agrees that an event or the Bitcoin protocol produces a noteworthy moment, then the Satoshis used in those transactions could end up having their own category. A single Bitcoin contains 100 million Satoshis, just like $1 contains 100 pennies. Not all pennies are equal though. Some may have a very low production count, some could be a misprint, and others simply are lost to time. Think about a Roman denarius coin. It's not valued for its silver content, it's coveted due to its numismatic value. If you want an even more vivid example, think about an Augustus Aureus. That's a coin that's valued much higher than just its gold content. Rare sats are the exact same thing. These are Satoshis that at some point gain value well over what a common Satoshi holds.
Rare sats are a new class of crypto assets, and they sort of hit different. Most people get that Bitcoin is sort of the digital gold. We could say that rare sats are the digital diamonds. They're gems located into the Bitcoins. Some people are getting really good at identifying them, collecting them, and also trading them.
These rare sats tend to fall into one of two buckets. Historic. These are Satoshis that at some point were used in a transaction that is integral to the history of digital currency. An example here would be the Satoshis from Block 9, Block 78, or even pizza sats. And then we have the protocol level. These are Satoshis that are generated by the Bitcoin blockchain, and they're valued due to Bitcoin's open and transparent monetary policy. Alpha and Omegas, the first and last Satoshi of a single Bitcoin, is a great example of this. Or they could have some numerical pattern that's unique, such as a palindrome. In fact, the sats that are listed in Casey Rodimer's Rarity Guide outline protocol level Satoshis. Levels of rarity were assigned based upon how often the protocol produces them, something that we're going to be getting into later in the series. The beauty of rare sats is that it completely conforms to the Bitcoin standard. This means that rare sats are completely fungible and can always be spent for their base fiat value. However, this also means you got to be very careful you don't accidentally spend your rare sats as if they were common sats. You'll learn how to protect your rare sats later in the series.
We even had hunters that mistakenly sent out some of their goods. We at one point received 16 uncommons in a row, just probably a hunter that was new and didn't know what they were doing, and we received that.
The indexing of rare sats, assigning each one of them a unique number, has opened up a world of new possibilities.
Basically what the Ordinal theory did to Bitcoin is that it created a numbering system for every Satoshi that are in circulation and that will ever be in circulation. So the total supply of Bitcoin is at 21 million, meaning there is 2.1 quadrillion sats that will ever circulate. So all those Satoshis now have what we could call a serial number. Thanks to the traceability of the Bitcoin blockchain and to the devs that pioneered the Ordinal theory, we can now identify and trade Satoshis that are part of historical transactions, that have an ID that has numerical beauty, or that have a significant provenance from the Bitcoin blockchain.
And the industry has taken notice. There are both wallets and marketplaces that are now catering to this niche within Bitcoin. Heck, each Satoshi inherently has its own human readable name attached to it, and each Satoshi's name is based on its number, with the names becoming shorter over time. This ensures that the very best names, the shortest ones, aren't taken up front by one entity or locked away in the Genesis block. If you're curious about this, look into ordinal theory and Rodimer names. Oh, and while we're on the topic of names, the awareness around Satoshis is really starting to pick up steam, as evidenced by the SATS naming standard. And unsurprisingly, it too uses the Ordinals protocol. Users can create their own domains like collector.sats, wallet.sats, nft.sats, you get the picture. And these are attached to a wallet address, which allows a user to have their own unique identity within Bitcoin. So if your curiosity is piqued, then hang on, because we're about to jump into the RareSats ecosystem and help prepare you to make your first purchase.